Good evening. I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I'm going to check comments here real quick and make sure you can hear me all right. Welcome to the State of the Union address. Not quite. I just saw somebody mention that I guess we're competing with the State of the Union. I didn't realize that exactly. But just checking the chat. Good. You guys can hear me. Thanks. Hey, thanks. Thank you very much. Welcome back to KJ's What Happened. I've been gone a few weeks. I did a show yesterday. I was kind of bummed after the show because there's a couple other things about Kobe that were pretty interesting. The whole Kobe situation I meant to share. One of them is in that short video he did with Robert Rodriguez. At the end of it, he actually takes a basketball and throws it at a helicopter and it explodes all around him. So there's that. And the other thing is that part of his ad campaign he had about attack fast and his shoes and all that, there's always a shark mixed in with a shoe. And remember I pointed out that in that animation, the helicopter looked like a shark and he was coming out of the mouth after the crash. I thought that might be something too. So just adding that in to the Kobe video from yesterday. But once again, thanks for being here, guys. Like I said, I'd been gone a few weeks visiting friends and family. This month is going to be really busy. I've got a lot of stuff to do. In fact, today I found out some kind of bummer news. Vimeo removed my account. I had an account there for 5 years, and they took it down because I put the movie up there about a week ago. And there's so many copyright things and all that. And I've been smart about it for so many years on Vimeo. I was able to get away with a little more there, but unfortunately that happened. So I sent them an email. Hopefully they'll give it back without the movie on there. If not, I've got another Vimeo account I'll just open up and start, uploading all those videos. So there's going to be a lot of dead videos now on my website, especially the band videos. I had all my band videos from YouTube over on Vimeo. So hang tight with me, man. That's one thing I got to do this month. And of course, I'm going to work with a couple animators who've reached out to me. I want to talk to these guys about some projects. Got to talk to some artists about some t-shirts and merchandise designs and all that good stuff. So there's a lot going on. And on top of that, I've got some videos that I've been working on, and I'll have stuff up this week. So enough about me. Let's get back to the news. Once again, guys, welcome aboard. Also, a big shout out to all the moderators. I saw Tim, Effie, Tamara so far. I think I saw Ali in there. So thanks a lot. You guys are always awesome and do a great job. So here's what I got to do before we get started. And there's a lot of stuff to share. A lot of stuff to get into, man. It has been a crazy couple weeks, hasn't it, man? There has been so much going on. So before we do, let's take care of the business end of all this. And let me give a shout out to my sponsor, Noble Gold. So, the Wall Street Journal just reported that 2 massive hedge funds won't let their clients withdraw their money. And that makes you think, will you be able to get yours when you want it? With a precious metal IRA with Noble Gold, your money is safe. It's yours. No excuses, no bits of paper, no permission. Noble Gold gives you back the control of your IRA. Do this and you never have to worry about that again. Discover more about precious metal IRAs and 401k rollovers with Noble Gold Investments. And there's a link below if you're interested. Please check it out. And I'm grateful for sponsors. I never had to use them in the past. I got away with it for many years, but we know things have changed. And sponsors help, Patreon helps, PayPal helps. YouTube, not so much. But at least we're still here. I am grateful to still be on the platform. All right, enough of all that. Enough of the business. Enough of all that boring stuff. Let's go ahead and jump right in and see what kinds of interesting bits we found over the last few weeks. So this one right here, if you guys, this is Dave Bautista. I guess he started off with, I think I have to disable my ad blocker here. Let me see, pause on this site. There we go. But he started off with world wrestling type stuff. I don't watch that wrestling stuff. I didn't even like it when I was a kid. But anyway, and no offense if you're into that. Everyone's got their own thing going on out there. Everyone has their own forms of entertainment, right? But I know he got to start there. He's made it into the movies. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's one of those characters. But anyway, here's this right here. That's not Dave Bautista, by the way. It's just an ad of a girl. It's always sexy ads, isn't it, on this stuff? Anyway, this is what he's got going on now. So there you go. And why is this important? I know, you can see people make these videos and, oh my gosh, it's an Illuminati tattoo. He's one of them. But I still take it seriously. I mean, it shows you, because he wasn't always like this. He didn't always have this tattoo. He wasn't always real big in the industry, but now he is. He's making it in movies and whatever else, commercials and what have you. So there you go. I'd have to look it up yet and see if they put him in a dress. I wonder if he's been in the dress yet. I'm curious if there's any pictures of Dave Bautista in the dress, part of the humiliation ritual. Or maybe that's coming. Maybe that'll be a movie coming out soon where we'll see Bautista in a dress, right? Perhaps. That happens a lot, doesn't it? But there you go. So, when we see this, because there's another example I'm going to show you here in a little bit as well. It's a bummer to me. You see these people have sold out. Most likely, of course, there's the off chance there's a person here or there who may do this kind of thing for attention. We see that with kind of in the hip hop rap kind of areas, the lower tier people. Sometimes you'll see that they're trying to act out like they're a part of this, and never feels authentic, because there are people that are, and we know who they are just by their fruits, right? But it's too bad. I see this and I see a real sellout. I see someone who really sold out to that system. That's what I see. There you go. I think there's a actual better picture here. I think this is it. There you go. I wonder what people are saying. This one says, "You sold your soul, Dave. So did Kobe. And look what happened." Whoa. Illuminati confirmed. Wow, you sold out. See, look, man, look at all the people that are truly awake. I like that. That's encouraging. That's how they are. Puppets on strings that choose to worship evil. Jesus saves, this one says. Yeah, that's not the most obvious S I've ever seen. Sellout, God over everything, along with family. Good stuff, man. We got some... And he wrote, I guess, "I've officially crossed the line. Oh, well, I got to be me." So I don't know. Publicity stunt, perhaps some might say, or something else. This was a little interesting. Julianne, I don't know how to say her name. Huff. Screams and convulses during exorcism-style energy treatment, and it's a trip. Let's see what this here is all about. It's in the Equality Lounge. Okay. Sounds a bit new agey to me. Oh well. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Okay, I think we've had enough. Let's see what this says. In between Greta Thunberg clashing with U.S. Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin over climate inaction and billionaires discussing Brexit, this year's World Economic Forum at Davos has also seen Julianne Hough seemingly undergo an exorcism. The World Economic Forum, of course. It's the globalism thing, the globalist connection there. So, of course, we'll see all this, a bit of this new agey type religious stuff pop in, what with energies and whatnot. The America's Got Talent judge, that's who she is. I've never heard of her before. I've never watched that show. Do you guys watch America's Got Talent? Is that something worth watching? I feel like the commercials I've seen, it's one of those things I'll have to go actually watch several episodes and just see what the symbols are. I haven't ever even looked into it like that, but I know I've seen commercials where there's obvious stuff on there. It's like, oh, okay. So I imagined, well, Simon, right? What's his name? From isn't Simon? What's not? I want to say Simon Le Bon, but I know that's the dude from Duran Duran. But you know, this Simon guy, the famous, what's his name? I can't look at chat, but I think you guys know who I'm talking about. He's from American Idol. I know he did a bunch of other stuff. But there's pictures of him with his Freemason jewelry on, also riding on a jet ski with a big Freemason logo. So I see things like this. I see shows connected with people like that. So I shouldn't be surprised when I see the checkerboard floor in the background and where certain ritualistic dances taking place on stage and things like that, right? I mean, it's how that it's all connects. In a truly bizarre video, How Hoof 31 was lying face down on a massage table with a marl showing how waves of stored emotion can be shifted and drawn out of the body through movement. Immoral was seen waving his hands over Julianne, whose body started convulsing in a, quote, wave, which he called spontaneous and not a placebo effect. Simon Cowell, that's it. Thanks. Simon Cowell, a friend and listener, just sent that to me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that because that was going to bother me. It's one of those things that was just going to hang right there on the edge of your brain, you know, for the whole night. All right, thanks. Immoral then touched the dancer's neck before miming pulling something out of Julianne's bottom, leading to the burlesque star shrieking as her body shook. The healer said, "There's always a huge dissipation of energy that's been bound in our bodies to move through." Wait, there's always a huge dissipation of energy, and a feeling of relief, release, freedom. Expression of emotion may happen when the system moves, when energy that was stored and bound up in the muscles begins to dissipate. And if we're really free to express and allow energy that's been bound in our bodies to move through, his woman is like an incredible dancer, actress, just human being, and she practiced just allowing things to move through her. He added that not everybody would make the sounds Julianne was making, saying what they would have is physical pain, tension in their bodies. We've just made it easier for that energy to be liberated. Whoa, symbolism much? What's that from? Treatment also features the Goop Lab. The Goop Lab picture. That's called the Goop Lab? You're kidding me. Wow, I need to save this one. I'm going to have to go back and look at this. There's something's going on. There's something's going on inside the Goop Lab, and I'm just judging by the obvious symbolism here. So I'll look more into that. I'll look more into the Goop Lab, I guess you could say. All right, anyway, I think we found everything we needed to here. I just thought it was interesting. I found a lead on a new story. I'm seriously going to figure out what that's all about there. It reminds me of symbolism I've shown you guys about your mother goddess, and we see all of this, the rise of this stuff. But if you want to just on the side and go look this up, look up it's in Alaska, and it's where oh gosh, let me think. Wasilla. Look up Wasilla, Alaska. All right. Look up Wasilla, Alaska. There's like a statue there, and it looks like a female part. All right. Check that out. It's something, if you're interested, you can kind of on the side do a little bit of your own investigating. Wasilla, Alaska. I'm not sure what term you'll put in there, but just strange sculpture. Maybe put that in there. Okay, you'll see what I mean. Jason Momoa's creepy Super Bowl ad leaves us scared and confused as he's revealed as a bald man. So I wound up recording the Super Bowl and not watching it, and then later fast forwarding through the game and watching all of the commercials. This is how I watch sports events. I'm more interested in the programming, you know, with the there's so much money they put into these ads. That's why I'm always interested. This is where you'll find a lot of your programming. I'll do a video or maybe even just a hangout type show here soon about it and show you guys just the little notes I picked up just through all the commercials. Some of the stuff I've seen some other people pick up. Some of it I haven't seen anyone else talking about. All the same agenda, though. It's all the same thing. And it's, anyway, it's very interesting. You can even go back looking at the Super Bowl halftime show and just go back through history and just look at how incredibly over the top adult they are. And there's often the same themes. So what was it? Adam Levine last year, Maroon 5, I guess. Anyway, all the controversy. But did you see this commercial here, Jason Momoa? But this is more of that, man is weak, woman strong, basic message. That was what I picked up off of this one. The advertisement was for Rocket Mortgage and had the Aquaman actor talk about being able to be comfortable in his own skin when he gets back home. Rocket Mortgage understands that home is where I can be myself, and that feels pretty darn good, he said, while talking to the camera about the comfort of his house. He begins removing his muscles. Yes, that includes his abs. The star sits down on the couch before removing his wig to expose a bald scalp and wispy hair on the sides. Wow, Khal Drogo really let himself go. I don't know what that means. That must be his Aquaman name. Anyway, there's that. The end of the clip, that's what I was thinking. The end of the clip is the message. Is if you manage to get yourself through it, has his wife Lisa Bonet spot him as he attempts to work out, and it's the stuff of nightmares. Fans were just as confused by Jason's tomfoolery, considering a lot of his reputation was built on his giant muscles and long hair. Imagine a skinny Dwayne Johnson. You can't, can you? Anyway, this is all just whatever, but let's take a look. Anyway, so this was kind of the last image. And it's him struggling with this bar. I can't, take it away, like really, really freaking out. And his wife, Lisa Bonet, is like, yeah, I got it. She like grabs it with like a finger, of course, and just easily lifts it and puts it away. And I get it. We get it. Okay. It's like we're being pummeled with this idea. We understand. That's why I'll put a compilation together and do a video on this, because just so much. It's been going on for a while, but it's just really been increasing for the last few years. The programming is intense with this. Taylor Swift, all of them have this. It's an over the top. I don't even want to call it third wave feminism anymore. It's something else. Anyway, Jezebel spirit, I guess. Jezebel spirit out of control. Jezebel spirit on DMT and K2. All right. And probably other stuff. Just madness. Dogs and cats living together. Frogs raining from the skies. All right, so I need to check the chat here for a second and ask you guys something, because I just got a new setup. You can probably tell I finally got a new microphone, headset, and all that. It makes it a little bit tougher for me to play audio for you, so I'm not sure if you hear what I hear. So I'm going to just start playing a little bit of this, and I'm going to jump to the chat, and you guys tell me if you can hear the audio here. All right. You can hear it lightly. Turn it back up. Okay, hold on. How's that? Oh, good. You can hear it now? Cool, man. Awesome. Okay, good, good. We're doing an experiment live. All right. But this is great. I think this will work. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go and start the clip over. Now we know we can do it. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit more. Turn up the computer volume. My computer volume's all the way up. I need to turn this part up. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, because this guy's... Okay, so I just turned it up a little bit more. And the main thing I wanted to show you is, I've shown you Project Veritas before. They have a new expose they've done. This is another Bernie Sanders staffer. And now they're talking about, straight up getting armed and guillotining the rich. So I don't need to, we don't need to hear this whole thing right now. That's fine. I wanted to try that experiment out. I'll find something else where I can play some audio, and we'll play that out and see how that goes. Okay. But thank you for being a part of this. Okay. I mean, you really didn't have a choice, but thanks, man. This is the way these shows go. Okay. So that's good. We just go with the flow on it. Anyway, but just mainly wanted to point out that we see this coming out into people's, the collective consciousness, if you will, this talk of guillotines and beheading, right? Anyway, I'll move on from this. Okay, this one right here is really interesting. I'm always interested in the symbols. I know a lot of you are too. And of course, I wasn't the first to pick this out. I just found this story. Chinese Resident Evil fans think this biotech company's logo looks familiar. In Resident Evil, the Umbrella Corporation is an evil biotechnology and pharmaceutical conglomerate. Shanghai Rulon, I'm not even going to try to say all that, Limited is also a biotechnology, and as Chinese Resident Evil fans point out, has a similar logo. Pretty wild. Says the Chinese Weibo post below mentions that this was for fun. The website seems to have featured these Resident Evil nods as a gag. It was created before the new company official site launched. All right. Interesting, I suppose. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and others predicted up to 65 million deaths via coronavirus in simulation ran 3 months ago. You guys heard about this one? They also just happened to fund the group who owns the patent to the deadly virus, and are working on a vaccine to solve the crisis. On June 19th, 2015, the UK government funded Pirbright Institute filed an application for a patent for the live coronavirus, which was approved on November 20th, 2018. Suspiciously, a Pirbright Institute primary funder is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Specifically, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation donated $189,232. I'm guessing that's dollars. Yeah, it looks like it's dollars. To the Pirbright Institute in a 2013 grant looking to improve our understanding of and effective use of current control tools and measures, including vaccines against, I don't know that word, and foot and mouth disease, 2 serious diseases affecting livestock that are widespread in developing countries. Then in November of 2019, the Pirbright Institute's website published an article focusing on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's funding of a livestock antibody hub to the sum of $5.5 million. The ambitious program of work will see extensive collaboration between multiple UK research organizations in order to utilize research outcomes in livestock disease and immunology to support human health as part of the One Health agenda. Professor John Hammond, the lead researcher on the program, said new technology has given us the opportunity to utilize these detailed antibody responses to make the next generation of vaccines and therapies, which will improve animal health and ultimately human health, as well as ensuring the security of our food supply. Additionally, at the same time, the Pirbright Institute announced the Livestock Antibody Hub program. They posted a job opening for a 4-year postdoctoral scientist position on LinkedIn.com. The advertisement for the job opening explains the post holder will report to the heads of the coronavirus group and the viral oncogenesis group work and will work closely with a multidisciplinary team to advance the aims of the overall Pirbright Livestock Antibody Hub. Wow. Keep in mind this all took place prior to the current Wuhan coronavirus outbreak. Meanwhile, on October 18th, 2019, also before the outbreak, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and World Economic Forum co-hosted an event in New York City where policymakers, business leaders, and health officials worked together on a simulated coronavirus outbreak titled the Event 201 Pandemic. The high-level pandemic exercise dropped participants right in the midst of an uncontrolled coronavirus outbreak that was spreading like wildfire out of South America to wreak worldwide havoc. In the simulation, CAPS, the corona, whatever. I wonder, am I allowed to say that? I haven't, been away for a bit, so am I allowed to say the coronavirus? I really don't know. Is that one of the new no words? It probably is. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out. We'll find out the hard way. It's always the way I find out, at least. In the simulation, CAPS resulted in death toll, and this is in the simulation, resulted in a death toll of 65 million people within 18 months. And that's according to Johns Hopkins University. A video highlight reel from the event shows fictional newscasters from, quote, GNN discuss how the hypothetical immune-resistant virus nicknamed CAPS was crippling trade and travel, sending the global economy into freefall. It just so happens that a professor from Imperial College London recently warned the coronavirus has the same kill rate as the Spanish flu, which claimed the lives of 20 to 50 million people in 1918. In the video, Tom Inglesby of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security promoted globalism as a solution, of course, saying, there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together. Whatever. That's what I say. All right. It's a long article. I think we get the gist. But check it out. Check it out while you can. Have you ever heard of this website right here called INFO Wars? Or this fellow here, Mr. Jones? The LGBT mafia and their satanic agenda lead to more global corporations tanking the top 5 woke-vertising fails for 2019. Over the years, we have seen companies get, quote, woke just to go broke, losing millions and in some cases billions of dollars, all because they wanted to suck up to a particular crowd, uncaring as to whether they offend anyone else or not. Article by Susan Duclos, republished from some other site. Look at Dick's Sporting Goods, where company leaders decided to join the Second Amendment versus gun grabbers battle back in 2018, taking sides in a political fight that ignored their own customers' preferences to jump onto the gun grabbers' control bandwagon, resulting in a $250 million loss for the company. From soda companies to supermarkets, we find that corporations are attempting to appeal and appease the LGBT community, aka the gay mafia, despite the fact that the LGBT community only represents less than 10% of the overall population. I always thought it was a lot less than that. I feel it is. But I don't know. I mean, perhaps that goes to show you how well the programming is working out there, that maybe there is this, we're seeing an increase, that maybe it's increasing so fast that they haven't even tested for it yet. I don't know. Not trying to be a fear monger here. The gay is spreading. It's going to get you all, But, you know, all kidding aside, we do see this, you know, quote, programming in everything, right? So moving on, less than 10% of the overall population, says the article, risking the alienation of the other 90% that do not appreciate other people's sexual preferences shoved in their face every time they turn around. In 2019, we have found a series of woke fails across the globe. Below, we are going to detail a few. Here's one. TGI Fridays. Following in the footsteps of a bunch of companies by kowtowing to the LGBT community and agenda, as they recently put out a 15-second commercial of couples kissing, and in that 15 seconds, they managed to show the gay couple above as part of their promotion. Okay, got it. Number 2, Hallmark pulls gay wedding ad. Hallmark, a television channel geared towards family-oriented movies and shows, recently pulled an ad for Zola, which promoted a gay-lesbian wedding. After the LGBT community finished harassing the television station, Hallmark reversed their decision and announced they were wrong to have pulled it and said they would be reinstating it. All right. That's it. I thought there was supposed to be 5 examples. All right. Anyway, well, we get it. We understand. Okay, cool. Here's one. I'm going to go full screen. This is from a YouTube channel called Tito Tetrin. 7 subscribers. I'm going to subscribe, Tito, because I think you got a good capture here. So I wanted to share this video. This will also be a good test for us for the audio. I'm just going to play it out, and then I'm going to check the chat right after and see what you guys think about the level. Here you go. Okay, so now I'm going to jump over here to the chat for a second. So how is that? How is that for audio? Did you guys hear the dog? A little bit? Yeah. It was low, though. Really low. Terrible. Some are saying it was good. No sound at all. I'll work on it. It's something I'll work on. I'll figure out how to do it, you know? Like I said, this is a whole different setup. So, you know, I'll figure it out, okay? But thank you. Thanks for your help. Back to the show, all right? Here we go. Yeah, thanks, guys. Like I said, I'll figure it out. There's got to be something I'm missing. In fact, a lot of you out there, or I'm sure you're a lot more technically proficient with this kind of stuff than I am. You know, if you know anything about this, how I can, with a headset on, if there's a way I can switch something in audio where you guys can clearly hear what I hear. I don't know. Something. Anyway, let's move on. This is a pretty cool capture I wanted to share. This guy was recording straight. This guy's recording straight from ISS, right off the screen here, off the feed. And if you hear anything, it's him. He's knocking his speaker around and stuff. Here, I even took the volume off. We really don't need volume. He's playing some kind of creepy music in the background, I guess, for added effect. Or maybe that's the kind of music he listens to when he's chilling. I don't know. But it was spooky. It's spooky to me. Anyway, let me show you. I'll just speed it up a bit here. But he does capture something pretty cool. Look at this. I'm not sure what it is. and he's talking throughout it, explaining everything, how he's, this is straight off ISS. I know a lot of people think ISS is fake. It's not real. Space isn't real. All this is a simulation, a creation. But no matter what, that's still a pretty interesting catch with this fella caught here. See, I think it gets a little closer. There's other little things it seems like popping up around it. Make it bigger. What do you think? What do you guys think that could be? It wouldn't be a cluster of satellites. Surely they don't all sit around each other that close, right? I don't know. I mean, is that one of our space stations? I'm not sure. I really don't know. I found it on Frank R. YouTube channel. 1 subscriber. Frank, I'm going to subscribe to you too. Now you got 2 subscribers. Thanks for sharing your UFO videos, sir. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. Hope you guys are doing well. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Okay, there's something here I wanted to show you guys. This is on Mavi. There it is. Mavi 777. There's a few of these channels I watch, of course, it's just a handful of them. Hidden Underbelly, of course, 2.0. He just put out a really good one. I'm not sure if I put it up here or maybe I was even going to try to use it in an actual video in the future, if that'd be okay, if you're here tonight. But man, that capture you got that happened on live TV, if you're here, this is my friend Hidden Underbelly 2.0. It's one of the channels. I usually show a lot of his videos. When I catch one, I'll usually throw it up here. He gets good stuff. But he got a capture recently, and it happened on live TV. I don't know the country, and it was incredible. There was even people pointing their little laser pointers at these orbs or whatever was up there, and these things were multiplying, shining back. I mean, it was incredible. So there you go. There you have it. So here's a good one. I think a good one from Mavi. I think I say that right. Mavi 777. It's always interesting. These. Look at that. Shape-shifting plasma, right? Interdimensional beings. That's how I always see it. This type, there's definitely different types. But then, what if sometimes there's weird, maybe drones. There's advanced kind of drones out there we don't know about, right? Perhaps that's out there too. That looks like some kind of a structure just floating in the sky. It's another thing if you want to just do a little side investigation while you're listening, while we're checking this out. Look up when people have sightings of, well, you've seen some of this stuff, cities in the clouds, cities in the skies. But beyond that, I mean, people have seen buildings made out of like light buildings. Let's look up some of this stuff in the sky. Could be even one of those weird snake-like UFOs all coiled up. Who knows? Anyway, I thought that was a cool catch. Scientology. Oh, this is a crazy story. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to take a quick drink here. A second. It's a watermelon flavored thing that you put in water. Nobody cares. I'm sorry. I think I just say that kind of stuff to myself. All right, but this right here is a pretty crazy story. And it's connected to a band, a guy that's connected to a band that I've always really liked. So here we go. Scientologists allegedly killed a singer's dogs to protect Danny Masterson. Ever since Chrissy Carnell Bixler accused Danny Masterson of the R word that ends with an E, she and her husband, Mars Volta singer Cedric Bixler Zavala, say Scientology has been out to scare them. And this Cedric came from another band called At the Drive-In. And I don't think I've held on to all the music I had through the years, but at one point I had everything they ever put out. A band called At the Drive-In, if you're interested. The allegations surrounding Danny Masterson and the Church of Scientology just keep getting darker. In March 2017, news broke that the LAPD was investigating multiple sexual assault claims against Masterson, who is a Scientologist. That December, Netflix fired the actor from The Ranch, and last 4 women sued both Masterson and the church, alleging that they had been stalked and intimidated after coming forward with their claims. Speaking through his attorney at the time, Masterson called the lawsuit beyond ridiculous. Now, a new allegation has emerged. Chrissy Carnell Bixler and her husband, Mars Volta Cedric Bixler Zavala, claim that ever since Carnell Bixler came forward as one of Masterson's accusers, Scientologists have been lethally poisoning their dogs. When reached for comment by the Daily Beast, Masterson's legal representative issued the following statement. I'm fairly certain that Chrissy Bixler's and her husband's latest wild allegations do not deserve a response. Mr. Masterson does not intend to engage with his ex-girlfriend in the media, as she seems to want him to do. We'd prefer to present our arguments to the judge and get this ridiculous lawsuit thrown out. Bixler and her husband have a team of lawyers representing them, yet they're combating the Church of Scientology and my client on Instagram? Doesn't make sense. Masterson has previously denied all allegations of assault. In a statement issued in response to Carnell Bixler and Bixler Zavala's claims of animal poisoning, the Church of Scientology wrote, "These claims are completely false and insane. The Bixlers have fabricated the most outrageous lies and are now using Instagram as a channel for their latest hallucinatory publicity stunt." This week, both Bixler Zavala and Carnell Bixler, those are names that just don't roll off the tongue very easily, you know? But anyway, those 2 people posted allegations to Instagram, beginning with, there's that name again, Bixler Zavala, who posted an image of what appears to be raw meat broken apart to reveal rat poison that had been encased inside. I'm at the vet dealing with another hurt animal. This is what I've been finding in my front and backyard, he wrote. This is what Scientology does when you speak about the predators they protect. He later posted a photo of the dog and said that he and Carnell Bixler had been forced to euthanize her. This was a result of eating rat poison rolled up in raw meat, he wrote. This is the second dog we've had to put down due to the harassment from private investigators and Scientologists. This only makes us stronger. My boys named her Biscuit. They still don't understand what's happening. We said goodbye to her and let her go peacefully. In her own post, Carnell Bixler posted a photo of the dog when she was a puppy, along with a second photo of another dog she and Bixler Zavala, that name, claimed Scientologists also killed. Scientology and Danny Masterson from that 70s show have now murdered 2 of my sweet baby dogs. Carnell Bixler wrote, Biscuit would have turned one this week. Baby Ethel, please take care of our little Bisky till we all meet again. How many times can a heart break? Bixler Zavala also posted a lengthy, furious note on Instagram in which he wrote, I will not shut my mouth about this, S. Clearly, you repugnant pieces of you know what don't want my wife and I to tell our story. We most certainly have some interesting receipts that can tie a whole F-load of Xenu sympathizers and Xenu soldiers to these R words, the new YouTube folks. You're welcome. Oh boy. He later added, you go ahead and take gigs with these people. You'd be an utter fool to think that the money you help make on tour with these sheep doesn't go back to the Celebrity Center. So here's a special shout out to all the powerful cats, all the midnight vultures, all the friends of Earl, all the barrack troops, all you owners of hip red bag coffee, all you stoned owners of Harvard, all you house geisha dwellers, all you managerial pieces of, repping strokes of luck, all of you Oscar stylists, all you deadly little Sarahs, all you post-apocalyptic soldiers fighting zombies in Atlanta, all you black cube thugs, all you newly indoctrinated people of the sun, all you poser hags wearing Native American regalia for purposes of rock stardom, I see you. I see what side of her story you are on. I would say that's an epic rant. Wouldn't you? Her story, though, oh boy. So this right here is good times. You may have seen this, maybe you haven't. Very weird stuff. I'm sure there's even better versions of this, clearer versions. Okay, this is just one of the first I found. But this is Chuck Schumer apparently is telling an invisible figure to get out of his chair before he sits down. This person labeled this Chuck Schumer and his invisible friend Regan, which goes back to that movie The Exorcist. That little girl, her name was Regan, right? Remember that? Anywho, this is weird. Let's watch. Enjoy. And people notice it. I mean, look at this. I mean, I know that place is filled with demons, but come on. Stop that with that silly picture. I just want to actually see one more time. I'm going to do that. I don't do that. Wow. Crazy, huh? Unveil the truth about the A word. Are we allowed to say that word anymore? I'm not sure. NFL tight end Benjamin Watson to produce pro-life documentary. New England Patriots player Benjamin Watson has always been vocal about his pro-life beliefs, so it's no surprise the tight end is producing a new pro-life documentary. Watson, who is also partially financing the documentary, interviews 30 Americans in the film who are on both sides of the aisle, The film features a few different prominent figures, including former presidential candidate and neurosurgeon Ben Carson, as well as Alveda King, the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. My goal is to unveil the truth about abortion, the laws, the history, and where our country is headed, Watson told The Hollywood Reporter in an interview. I believe in the sanctity of life, be it in the womb or on your deathbed. That's my conviction. But with the film, I'll engage those who disagree and hear their reasoning. The number one thing I'm looking for is empathy on both sides. Cool. Just want to throw that out there. No pun intended. NFL, football. Yeah. I'll be here all week, folks. Tip your waitress. Try the veal. Goldman to refuse IPOs if all directors are white, straight men. More of this foolishness. The era of the white all-male board is coming to an end. Goldman Sachs Group, Inc. Chief Executive Officer David Solomon issued the latest ultimatum Thursday from Davos. Oh, things are happening out there. I wonder if he had one of those weird remove electricity from your butt treatments. Wall Street's biggest underwriter of initial public offerings in the U.S. will no longer take a company public in the U.S. and Europe if it lacks a director who is either female or diverse. Asia is not yet included in the firm's new policy. The mandate is the latest in a series of signals that non-diverse boards and management are unacceptable. Oh boy. BlackRock Inc. and State Street Global Advisors are voting against directors at companies without a female director. Public companies with all-male boards based in California now face a $100,000 fine under a new state law. It's what big investors are looking for these days, said Fred Folks, a management professor at the Boston University Quistrom School of Business. Such a title. It's a long title, isn't it? If the board has all white males, that's a big negative, he says. Goldman Sachs acknowledged that diversity, quote unquote, has other meanings around the world, including in Asia, where racial dynamics are different and gender disparities are sometimes even more glaring. The company said in a statement Friday that it intends to eventually expand its board diversity mandate beyond the U.S. and Europe. The company board has become a rare bright spot for gender and racial diversity at the highest echelons of corporate America. Almost half of the open spots at S&P 500 companies went to women last year, and for the first time they made up more than a quarter of all directors. In July, the last all-male board in the S&P 500 appointed a woman. Neat? I don't know. Why do I not care about this? I mean, it's all good. I just, one way or the other, hey, that's great. It's good. I'm sorry. I don't mean to seem, I think it's good news. It's great. It's just, we know what it is. All the corporations, of course, they all want to be on board. They all want to be woke, whatever that means, right? Woke-ish, like woke until they get caught, right? And then they get forgiven, right? Eventually, if they're on that team, the team behind the media and everything else, if they lean to that side, I guess. Transgender MMA fighter who fractured a woman's skull named bravest athlete in history. This is some scary stuff, though. Did you see that? Transgender MMA fighter who fractured a woman's skull named, quote, bravest athlete in history. Wow. And just let that sink in. MMA fighter Fallon Fox twice broke an opponent's skull to win matches, and now he's being praised by some in the LGBT community. Outsports, a sports news website that focuses on LGBT issues in sports, named Fox the bravest athlete in history in a recent article written by Sid Ziegler. Fox, who is a biological male fighting physically weaker females and inflicting life-altering harm, apparently qualifies as brave because, according to Ziegler, she was the target of a torrent of hatred I have literally never seen targeting an LGBTQ athlete. As intense as the hatred Fox may have been subjected to, it's highly unlikely that the social media comments directed his way ever fractured his skull. The title of bravest athlete would have been much more appropriately bestowed on the biological females who dared to enter the cage with a fighter they had no hope of matching in terms of power and athletic ability. The post-millennial posted a commentary on Fox and the women he was in the ring with. Fox, a male-to-female transgender athlete, destroyed Erica Newsom in a Coral Gables, Florida MMA fight, during which she secured a grip on Newsom's head. With her hands grabbing the back of Newsom's skull, she delivered a massive knee, bringing her leg up while pulling her opponent's head down. The blow landed on Newsom's chin and dropped her, unconscious, face first on the mat. That was Newsom's last pro fight. But to outsports a male-bodied person beating a female-bodied person unconscious constitutes bravery. Not only has Fox beat up women in the ring, won every match but one, but has weathered online attacks from the likes of Joe Rogan. I think we can all agree that getting back online after Joe Rogan has knocked you down is far braver than facing another male-bodied of your own muscle mass and size in a fight. Fox also beat Tamika Brents, giving her a concussion and breaking 7 orbital bones. Wow. Oof. But that's super brave too, taking an unfair male-bodied advantage and using it to give female-bodied opponents brain injuries. That's where we're at, man. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. And some people ask, how did we get here? And we'll be saying, we've been trying to tell you for years. Yeah. Really, not to make light of it, but it's true. But the good news is, the crazier it gets, the more people truly do wake up in the real way, right? In the way of understanding what this really is, the spiritual side, what time it is, who God is, who Christ is, the reality of the devil. So they always say that's the greatest trick he ever pulled is making everyone think he'd never existed or he doesn't exist. And then there's people like all of us who say, no, no, we're not going to let him hide. We're not going to let him hide. Anyway, we get it on this story, but it's good that the stories are getting out there and people can talk against it. Okay, so this is Chet Hanks, which is Tom Hanks' son. And I threw this in there because there is the Batista thing in there as well. Same thing, right? So just another, really sell out to that system. And, or what do you think? You think, yeah, it's just, they're doing it to be cool. It's all good, man. But then we have so many confirmations outside of this, just top to bottom, whistleblowers, everything we see, everything we know, all the truth that comes out, we know that exists. That really is the greatest secret. That's going to be the last one revealed anyway, right? It's the greatest secret. That it really is about the Luciferians. It really is about these devil worshippers. They all go by different names, different little secret societies and groups, all still working together. But ultimately, that's what it is. They worship Lucifer. That'll be the last big revelation, right? It'll be no more of this, oh, they're a Republican. He a Democrat. It's none of that. No, that's beyond all these things. It'll be like one of the last truth, right? That'll be it. There'll be no more, wondering who's on what side, when the mark, comes out in whatever form it be. Anyway, so another one. Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks' son. But I'm sure Tom Hanks is clean. Don't worry. A dozen New Jersey schools are piloting new mandatory LGBT curriculum. Groovy. NorthJersey.com reports the pilot sites to be announced by the state Tuesday, including schools in Hackensack, Morristown, Newark, and Asbury Park, are intended to be proving grounds for new lessons in history, economics, and even grammar designed to improve awareness of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender contributions and issues. Oh boy, there go the kids. I think it's already fairly normalized, isn't it? To the point to where I don't know, I just, with the programming being what it is, I bet it's always tough being in this world anyway, and being aware, being a follower of Christ, having Christ, loving God, believing in God, trying to follow those ways. We already know we're peculiar people, and we know we're not going to fit in. We know it's going to be tough. But man, the programming, and I'm sure the generations before us felt the same way, that about us coming up, like, oh man, look at the crap these guys are getting into. Look at the stuff they got to deal with, right? It just never ends, I guess. Anyway, more of that. Drag queen urges parents to keep kids away from drag. Don't ruin your child's life. I think there's a video here. I guess not. A drag queen known as Kitty Demure is taking to Twitter with a video warning parents the drag scene is not for kids. Demure's message comes as public libraries in some communities are hosting Drag Queen Story Hour for children. What in the H has a drag queen ever done to make you have so much respect for them and admire them so much, other than put on makeup and jump on the floor and writhe around and do sexual things on stage? Demure asks in the video. A drag queen performs in a nightclub for adults. There's a lot of filth that goes on, a lot of sexual stuff that goes on, and backstage there's a lot of nudity, sex, drugs, he continued. He said that exposing children to drag queens is comparable to exposing them to porn stars or strippers, and cautioned that to get them involved in drag is extremely, extremely irresponsible. He urged parents to keep children home or entertain them with a trip to Disneyland or Chuck E. Cheese or the circus. Well, that's nice, right? I'm going to say that's nice. That's great. Truth is truth, no matter where it comes from, and that's the truth, and that's good. I'm glad this person's speaking that truth. It's unfortunate that, X-Witch's warning about new Disney show. It's not a joke. That realm is very real. Dun, dun, dun. We already knew this. The red, black, and white satanic colors, the checkerboard, and then the all-seeing eye up here. And the 666. Boom, right before our eyes. A new Disney cartoon is teaching kids that being a witch is a good thing. It's called The Owl House and recently premiered on the Disney Channel. The show tries to portray witchcraft as a positive tool to fight evil, and some people say there's nothing to worry about when it comes to a children's show like this, arguing that it's just make-believe. But one former witch and lesbian, I'm not sure how that totally fits in. Well, I guess it does. I mean, kind of, right? I mean, some witches are lesbians, but not every lesbian's a witch. Anyway, but one former witch and lesbian, good to know, TMI, but whatever, told CBN's The Prayer Link that parents need to be very careful about what their children watch. I actually watched a movie that was very popular when I was in high school, and it was called The Craft, said Jenny Weaver. And the movie was about 4 high school witches that had all of this power and they had all of this control. Weaver, who grew up in a dysfunctional home, battled depression. She saw the power in the movie as a way out. I remember hearing these voices, just kill yourself, just go away. It would be better off if you would just die. And so I started to cut my wrists severely. I remember having 56 cuts all up and down my arms. My arms were shredded. Whoa. Uh, I mean, thanks for sharing, but the details. Hold on. I'm going to take a drink here real quick. All right, moving on. Okay, that's right. Shredded arms. And it was a way in my mind that I was able to escape, she explained. Cutting gave way to the demonic realm, and Weaver eventually became a practicing witch. It was a demonic hold on my life that caused me to open doors to witchcraft and practicing spells and incantations and studying the religion of Wiccans, she said. It's why I tell parents when I minister, it's not a joke when we say be careful what your children are watching. I was able to research and study and go to little shops, which you would be really surprised that you go into a shop and it's actually a witchcraft shop under the disguise of just tapping into energy and new agey type things. I'm telling you, it was one of the darkest times of my life. That realm is very real. Just like the kingdom of God and the Holy Ghost is real, so is that realm. And when you get in that realm and you open that door because the enemy wants to take you out. Weaver, who also became a lesbian and drug addict, said it took her years to break free. I was smoking methamphetamine in dope houses, sleeping in people's sheds, being tore up by bugs all day. And so I remember just crying out to God. I cried out to the top of my lungs and said, God, help me. That's when her life changed forever. God rescued me, said Weaver. That's her.
Hello, everybody. What's going on? It's me, your girl, Jenny Weaver.
Cool. Good job, kid. Virginia Democrats push legislation to make criticism of government officials a criminal offense. Man, it never ends. It never ends. It's just, we are in a dystopian movie, a crazy mishmash. There's definitely idiocracy. That's a part of it. But then there's more advanced, movies as well. Virginia Democrats pushing legislation to make criticism of government officials a criminal offense. Wow. In the wake of the Virginia gun rights rally on Monday, Democrats in the Capitol are not slowing down their push for tyranny. They are moving a bill through the legislature that would effectively criminalize dissent against Governor Blackface Northam and other state government officials. House Bill 1627 was introduced by Delegate Jeffrey M. Bourne last week. The legislation provides that certain crimes relating to threats and harassment may be prosecuted in the city of Richmond if the victim is the governor, governor-elect, lieutenant governor-elect, attorney general, or attorney general-elect, a member or employee of the General Assembly, a justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia, or a judge of the Court of Appeals of Virginia. Wow. Language in the bill explicitly criminalizes free speech in what would constitute a blatant attack on the First Amendment of the Constitution. If any person with the intent to coerce, intimidate, or harass any person shall use a computer, or this is real, folks, shall use a computer or computer network to communicate obscene, vulgar, profane, lewd, lascivious, lascivious, or indecent language, or make any suggestion or proposal of an obscene nature, or threaten any illegal or immoral act, he is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor, the legislation reads. Wow. Trolls be damned, huh? That is some scary crap right there. Somebody is trying to pass this as a law. I'll read it again. This is what they want. If any person with the intent to coerce, intimidate, or harass any person shall use a computer or computer network to communicate obscene, vulgar, profane, lewd, lascivious, or indecent language, or make any suggestion or proposal of an obscene nature or threaten any illegal or immoral act, he is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. Man, that is crazy. Or is it? I mean, we get it. I see it all as the same spirit. You know, we see this. We see what's happening to America. It really is under attack. It has been from the inside out, right? A lot of that's coming out now. And they're scattering like cockroaches, aren't they? Anyway. Yeah, this right here, just painful. Mike Bloomberg baffles with campaign ad showing him eating big gay ice cream. It's just the pandering that these people do. They all do it. But this one was especially cringy. And I think maybe it's here. Yeah, this is it.
Big gay ice cream is the best. Where's my ice cream? Big gay ice cream is the best. Where's my ice cream?
It's just that's so gross, isn't it? It's just so gross. Yeah, right. It's a billionaire. He is. It's the pandering, these people. It's just so gross. But that's how dumb they think that community is. That's what I see. If I was, part of that community, I'd be a bit upset by that. It's like, yeah, he thinks you're a bunch of chumps. Oh, hey, look, I ate your ice cream. Vote for me, right? I'm on your side. Crossdresser LGBTQ activist coming to Sesame Street. Sesame Street has announced that it will be featuring the cross-dressing LGBTQ activist Billy Porter on an upcoming episode. Jeepers. I'm not trying to be mean. That scared me for a second. Porter, who is best known for wearing an extravagant gown at the Oscars last year, is a celebrity LGBTQ activist and an award-winning singer, and has won both a Grammy and a Tony for his contributions to Kinky Boots, a Broadway musical about drag queens. While Sesame Street has long gone off the rails of sanity, it should come as no surprise that the progressive child indoctrination program would feature such a disgusting display of sexual immorality. After all, Sesame Street featured Michelle Obama once, which is just as bad, of course, maybe worse. Welcome to public television, folks. This is what your tax dollars pay for. All right, cool. There you go. Gather the kids around the telly. Does anybody still call it the telly? Harvey Weinstein accuser provides graphic description of what she called his deformed wiener genitalia. All kidding aside, though, I'm sliding this into kind of a video. I'm wanting to kind of piece together a bit, but there's some other things with this that are interesting, and I even seen a couple of people in my comment sections mentioning this as well. So a lot of us are on the same page. But I'll read this article. It's kind of weird. It really is. It just makes you wonder. But I've seen some other examples, and we'll get into that, like I said, some other time. But of course, one of those that some of you are already guessing is Epstein. Do you remember how his wiener was described? Like egg-shaped, right? Egg-shaped. So let's find out what they say Harvey's wiener is, what his disfigured wiener looks like. According to multiple reports, Jessica Mann claimed she witnessed his, quote, deformed and intersex genitals when he allegedly robbed her and sexually assaulted her in early 2013. The first time I saw him fully naked, I thought he was deformed and intersex. He has an extreme scarring that I didn't know. Maybe he was a burn victim, she explained in a Manhattan courthouse on Friday. Man further claimed he does not have testicles, and it appears that he has a vagina. She said she was able to see this when he allegedly forced her to give him oral sex. Moreover, Mann claimed she once found evidence he was using a drug that apparently induced an erection. I do not remember the medical term, but when I Googled the name of the drug, it basically implied dead penis type thing, she said. The witness, who once aspired to be an actress, also said the disgraced producer had very bad hygiene. Man described his body odor as smelling, quote, like poop. I say like sulfur. Look, you know how I think, and we're just throwing everything out there sometimes, just off the top of our heads, not saying it is what it is, or that it's the facts, but, you know, what if this is one of the ways these things are starting to reveal themselves, man? You know, for what they really are. What if some of these things really are creatures amongst us, monsters amongst us, you know, terrors in that sense, a different race being revealed? Just something to think about. It's interesting. Smells like poop, like sulfur. All these deformed genitals, hermaphroditic, also all goes back to Baphomet again, right? Another representation of the devil and the beast system and all that. I don't know. Why do these perverts have weird wieners? Think about it. I'm really not sure. Further evidence of this very bad hygiene was revealed when Mann began describing one of her alleged sexual encounters with him. She claimed that during one of these instances, he made her give him a back massage, during which she noticed, quote, he had a lot of blackheads. Gross. The texture of that was uncomfortable, she told the court. Then, in a later encounter, Mann alleged he, quote, went down on her while her friend sat in the other room, apparently unaware of what was happening. Despite being assaulted, she claimed that she made the decision to be in a relationship with him, namely because she was sexual with very few people. She further explained, I entered into what I thought was going to be a real relationship with him, and it was extremely degrading from that point on. In response to questions about why she never ended her relationship with him, Mann revealed she thought he was going to hurt my father. Weinstein currently faces charges in New York City for allegedly molesting Mann and for an alleged sexual assault on former actress Mimi Haley. All right. Anyway, really though, it's just, right? That's interesting. I mean, what is going on with this? What's happening? What are we looking at here? What's wrong with this man's wiener? And his brain. He certainly doesn't have a soul. Chilling video shows young couple writhing on the floor, quote, possessed by demons, as family dragged them to a church for exorcism. It's going to be one of those big-time grainy videos, it looks like, so I'm just going to read. A young couple were filmed screaming and writhing around on the floor in what their family claimed was a case of demonic possession. Footage shows the 18-year-old boy and his 16-year-old girlfriend throwing themselves on the floor and making growling noises in a Peruvian village. They were taken to a nearby church where relatives allegedly called for an exorcism. Both teens appeared confused and in pain, and the boy is seen sat on the floor with another person supporting him around the waist. According to Peruvian news reports, the girl told her family that a witch had come into their room and she was very afraid. Relatives later reported, I'm going to save this story too. Sorry. Relatives later reported that the couple had calmed down and that the episode may have been because of some kind of pollution. Okay. The pollution made me see a witch come into my room. That's what it was. It's a climate change. Yeah. Last year, a priest warned of a demon that seeks out young couples and families to attack. and was apparently encountered in numerous exorcisms carried out by the Catholic Church. Priest and exorcist Caesar Tricui said the demon called Asmodeus was present in many exorcisms. He added that he had encountered the demon in exorcisms and he had carried out with the former exorcist of the Vatican and the Diocese of Rome, Father Gabriel Amorth, who died in September. Judge lets Vimeo kill ex-gay pastor's account for videos about leaving homosexuality. A federal court dismissed a lawsuit filed by a Christian pastor against video hosting platform Vimeo for violating his freedom of speech when it deleted his account because he hosted videos to help people overcome unwanted same-sex attraction. Pastor James Doman is the founder of Church United, a nonprofit religious organization dedicated to changing the moral culture of our communities in California, and an advocate for people seeking to overcome unwanted same-sex attraction. He is also the married father of 3 children. In several videos Doman posted on Vimeo, he discussed AB 2943, a bill being considered in California legislature which proposes to ban so-called conversion therapy in the state. Vimeo sent a message to Doman in November 2018 claiming that several of his videos violated company policy. The video hosting website claimed Vimeo does not allow videos that promote sexual orientation change efforts. The website gave Doman 24 hours to remove the offending content or face sanctions. When Doman did not remove the videos, Vimeo shuttered his account for videos that harass, incite hatred, or include discriminatory or defamatory speech. In June 2019, Doman filed a lawsuit claiming that Vimeo had violated his freedom of speech by removing his account. However, a magistrate in a New York federal court dismissed the complaint on January 14th. According to Doman's complaint, Vimeo did not provide plaintiffs with an explanation for the distinction between Church United's videos relating to sexual orientation, testimonials, events relating to sexual orientation, and the thousands of similar videos related to LGBTQ and sexual orientation. All right, we get it. Thanks, Vimeo. Not. It's a video of some orbs. I'll see if I can. Here we go. New Mexico orbs. I thought it was a video. Yeah, there we go.
Overhead at a very high altitude. And at first, you're going to think, okay, it's a flock of birds. New Mexico. Video footage sent by Chris. He noticed something flying overhead at a very high altitude. And at first, you're going to think, okay, it's a flock of birds, small flock, fairly large birds, because they're very high up in the sky and they still look to be pretty good size. They're not flying in a traditional V pattern like migrating birds do. They're just kind of up there wandering around. Well, he zoomed in and noticed something quite spectacular. You're going to see these orbs split two, maybe expel something. One expels something that looks like it goes towards another one. Quite remarkable. I've never seen anything like this. Birds don't behave like this. Yeah, I totally agree. They look like large birds. But as you can see, looking closer here in the original format, this one and that one almost looks like it has some sort of a color, maybe a red glow to it. The rest of them are obviously white. Again, this is the original format, and they're very high up in the sky, typically higher than birds would fly. They're kind of hovering at times, changing
All right, here we go. Film about a fairground worker who falls in love with a ride, becomes a Sundance sensation, including the sex scene where she gets erotically sprayed with oil. Okay. A film about a woman who falls in love with a fairground ride has caused a stir after its premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. Jumbo, from Belgian filmmaker Zoe Wittek, tells the story of a fairground worker who takes a summer job at an amusement park and develops feelings for a 25-foot tilt-a-whirl ride. I mean, you guys have been here around my channel for a while. We've seen these stories for the last few years, haven't we? There's even a term for it, but there's a whole movement. I mean, there's a subculture of this online, of people falling in love with objects, and then they're creating groups so they can have friends to talk to about these things, and introduce them to other objects, perhaps. There's a woman that married a bridge, and I believe she was in one of these groups. Maybe that's how that works, And then one of your friends comes over and meets your bridge. And then later, when it's just you and her, they're like, look, you've got a great bridge, and you've been with this bridge for a long time and everything. But there's a bridge about 3 miles away from my house that you've never seen before. And I don't want to be a temptress or anything like this, but I just have a feeling that it might be something really real. It could happen. Anyway, the ride, which she dubs Jumbo, comes to life and can communicate with Jean through sounds, movement, and flashing lights. This interaction comes to a climax when Jumbo sprays the lover in body oil. All right, here we go. Great. That's about all I need to know about that. Well, I won't be watching this one. Okay, but on a deeper level, when I see this kind of stuff, it is sad. It's just another example of just the loss of love. Not as many people taking chances on love anymore. Not as many people, it feels like, holding on to love, seeking it. I don't know, man. I mean, it's still out there. You know what I mean? Of course it is, but this is why we have all these kind of subcultures now that have been created that are, anti-man, anti-woman, anti all of it. There's MGTOW, then there's incels, then there's third wave feminists, right? There's all of it. SJWs in general. What a handful they are, eh? So it's a mess. And then it's the hookup culture. I mean, a lot of people just use apps now. They can just kind of take care of the business they want to take care of with an app, not have to get too attached, and then just kind of do that. It's a whole way of life for some people for many years. Just saying. I'm not trying to be a tattletale or anything, but we're all adults here. Most people know about these things. I assume we're all adults here. I don't know. I'd mentioned this in one of my last shows, but this is just another one. It's just unbelievable, but it's real. New Netflix show features gender-confused girl living with drag queen RuPaul. Yeah, and I think the story that I showed on this is there's a news story on it, but in one of the episodes, some of RuPaul's drag queen friends refer to this little girl as a top. Yeah. Anyway, if you know what that means. If not, don't worry about it. Drag Queen Story Hour now offers Dragtivity book for kids promoted by therapists in drag. What could go wrong? If you're a parent of questionable moral character who wishes to forever traumatize your child by exposing him or her or they or XHEY to disturbing gender theory and the art of drag, but are unable to attend a drag queen story hour event in person, you're in luck. From the deviant mind behind the perverse events sweeping libraries across the nation comes the Dragtivity book, so your child can get indoctrinated in the cult of inclusivity and sexual sin in the comfort of your own home. And this isn't satire. These people really made a workbook for kids so parents and teachers can be better equipped to show kids the ropes of debauchery and perversion. Pardon the sarcasm, but sometimes I can't help it. This is so wildly insane. If you don't laugh, you might just cry. According to the Drag Queen Story Hour website, the Dragtivity book is an educational tool for engaging kids in conversation about gender and identity. Kids often have questions after attending DQSH events, and sometimes parents and educators don't have all the answers. We created the Dragtivity book in conjunction with Moore Ehrlich, creator of Says Me. Moore Ehrlich. That sounds like the name of some evil villain, doesn't it? Moore Ehrlich, doesn't it? It has that name, that ring to it, I guess. Moore Ehrlich. The evil Moore Ehrlich. It's like you better eat your vegetables and go to bed on time. Why? Because Moore Ehrlich will come get you. He's everywhere. Moore Ehrlich, creator of Says Me, the acclaimed LGBTQ multidisciplinary educational program for all ages to help kids and adults continue to explore topics of gender and identity together. Yuck. Anyway, I don't want to read the rest. I think you guys get it. Have you heard about this magnetic ball craze? I guess it's sweeping the nation. Dangerous magnetic ball craze leaves 4 children needing surgery. The craze involves children putting small magnetic balls in their mouth to mimic face piercings, one inside the mouth and the other outside. However, some have accidentally swallowed them, risking severe damage to their digestive system. Libby Walker, 6, was one such patient who suffered a perforated bowel and needed major surgery to have them removed. She has now been left with a severe 7-inch scar from her belly button to her hip. Meanwhile, in 2018, Freddie Webster, 12, was admitted to Hull Royal Infirmary after he suffered a hole in the wall of his stomach. They cause damage when they connect while inside the body, even between parts of the digestive system, causing tears. Wow. Despite being sold as a creative toy, they are considered so dangerous that in some countries they're illegal. Do you guys remember yard darts? Are those still legal? I bet you can find them online. I'm sure you can still find some used ones. I don't know if they still make them, though. Do they? Even as a kid, I realized that was just one of the most dangerous games ever. It was also one of the most thrilling, you know? That's because you had a, 3-pound weight, with a sharp end to it that you were throwing up in the air and trying to make it land in between, a hula hoop or something like that. And then a lot of times you'd be chasing it. You just wanted to stand as close to it as you could and see where it landed. You guys probably remember some of that. I wonder if those are really, because that's, surely they can't be making those anymore. I don't know. UNC Charlotte to host Sex Week with drag performers lingerie party. Just more of this. Now it's at the university, of course. Next month, University of North Carolina at Charlotte will host a week-long event dedicated to the celebration of sexual confusion, perversion, and promiscuity. Because that's exactly what college students need, apparently. According to the event's website, UNCC's Sex Week will take place from February 17th to the 22nd and include a drag show, a performance of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, STD testing, and workshops on everything from designing your own sex toys to mental health and BDSM. It's the end of the world as we know it. That's what I see when I see this stuff. Just wickedness run wild, you know. And again, I'm not some great holy man over here, you know, but some of us try, right? We're trying to follow the ways of Christ. We're trying to be the best examples of ourselves, right? We're trying to be a blessing to others. But then a lot of people, it's a pure focus on themselves or just a pure focus on pleasure, right? And that all ties back into the beast, doesn't it? That's why there's so many of the people who are part of the so-called satanic churches or whatever are just atheists. You know, they think the imagery is whatever, you know, or so they tell themselves. But either way, but even with them, it's just all about the flesh, right? Just feeding the beast, being an animal. We're all animals, so just there you go, right? These are all activist mommy stories, man. She's always on these stories about the drag queens. Drag queens plan protest at Missouri Capitol over a bill that would ban story hours. So, of course, that's going to happen. I'm tired of that story, those stories. This is a good headline, though. Prince Charles flew 16,000 miles in just 11 days using 3 private jets and 1 helicopter before proudly posing with Greta Thunberg in Davos. You gotta love it. The hypocrisy of these people, right? We see it. It's so obvious, but what about our friends across the pond? How about our friends in the UK? How about our friends in Europe in general? What do you all feel about what's happening with the monarchy, with the royalty or the royals, Meghan leaving, them breaking apart, Brexit? What effect will that have? You know, do you guys care? Is it something anybody cares about out there? But just the hypocrisy, and him being a distant relative to Vlad the Impaler. I mean, he was already creepy. You know, he was already creepy. It's just the headline here. The doomsday clock moves closer than ever to midnight. So you guys probably heard about this. If you haven't, the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists released a statement Thursday that the group's Science and Security Board had moved the hands on the symbolic doomsday clock forward by 20 seconds to 100 seconds before midnight. Since the advent of the doomsday clock, even during the peak years of the Cold War, the clock's minute hand has never before advanced past the 11:58 mark. In a statement on the change, the Bulletin's president and CEO Rachel Bronson said the following: "As far as the Bulletin and Doomsday Clock are concerned, the world has entered into the realm of the 2-minute warning, a period when danger is high and the margin for error is low. The moment demands attention and new creative responses. If decision makers continue to fail to act, pretending that being inside 2 minutes is no more urgent than the preceding period, citizens around the world should rightfully echo the words of climate activist Greta, oh my gosh, Thunberg, and ask, how dare you? Gross. Okay, so there we go. More of that programming, right? Of course. Of course. Anyway. This is what you're watching here, apparently, is somebody in Russia fell 9 floors, but nope, don't worry. Don't be upset. They stand up and just walk away. Check this out. Look at that. Wow. Right? That's crazy. Verizon brings 5G to the Super Bowl for part of the stadium anyway. Verizon's 5G hype train is heading to the Super Bowl, but the carrier won't tell us whether its new network will cover all the seats in the stadium. I just threw this in there because did you guys notice any of the 5G commercials during the Super Bowl? I saw a few. I'd like to go back and see if there's anything I missed on those. But that's about it. More of this 5G hype. Okay. Let's check this out.
In South Florida, no damage or injuries, but plenty of nervous moments. We deal with a lot of extreme natural weather. Rarely the effects of an earthquake. Tonight, there's plenty of relief, especially in Cuba and Jamaica, that there's hardly any problems to speak of. CBS source Hank Tester is live in downtown Miami with some reaction. Hank?
Well, if this was Southern California, this would just be a routine situation. For Miami, absolutely not. The buildings swayed, they creaked, and people did get actual motion sickness. Let's take a look. Cell phone video kindles Daytran Center. Just after 2 p.m., workers pour out of the high-rise office facility.
I felt a little shake in my chair. I was on the 18th floor, and around 2:10 we felt movement, and everybody in the office started saying, "What's happening? What's happening?"
Mid-afternoon outside the Stephen Clark Government Center in downtown Miami. Building evacuated shortly after the mid-afternoon tremor and felt especially on the upper floors of the building.
I was minding my own business at work on the 29th floor when suddenly I started feeling dizzy.
The building closed, entrance to Metro Rail and Metro Mover restricted, no damage, no injuries. Much the same story in the Brickell area, volunteer evacuations of several buildings.
We felt a little rumble. I was in the 23rd floor of my building, and I felt just the creak of the doors and everything else. You would hear a little creak going left and right. And if you put your hands on the actual window, you would feel the movement.
So what happened? It's all about the massive plates under the earth that rub up against each other 700 miles to the south of Cuba.
This is the plate boundary between the Caribbean plate and the North American plate. And the plate boundary is moving relative to each other, the two plates, at a speed of 2 centimeters per year. So every few hundred years, you get a significant earthquake.
This is good news. Texas mother trying to transition her 7-year-old son into a girl loses in court as judge orders her to share custody with ex-husband who says boy is just confused. That's another story we saw developing over the last year, but just want to share that with you. It looks like a good news here. A mother from Texas who is attempting to medically transition her 7-year-old son into a girl has lost a court case. Dr. Ann Georgoulis, who is the mother of James Younger, originally won her previous court case last October that allowed her to give her hormones that blocked puberty. But the decision by the jury meant the boy's father, Jeff Younger, who opposed such a procedure, had absolutely no say in his son's medical decisions. Now that ruling has been overturned after Dallas Judge Mary Brown ruled on Thursday that both parents should have joint conservatorship over their child, which would mean all decisions would have to be agreed upon by both parents. All right, there you go. Good news. Why is he wearing the double cross? Oh boy. Oof. All right, there you go. There you go. All right, this right here is incredible, and I'm not even kidding. This is real, okay? This happened. You'll see, but there's somebody up here, all right? So just kind of be looking for the person that's up here, and they're about to demolish this building. So hopefully you can hear stuff. Maybe there's not even any audio. I'm not sure, but okay, cool. Check this out. I'll play it twice. It's, believe me, worthy of a replay. He's welding, so look for the welding. You'll see some sparks. See the sparks? There's a guy in a cage there just behind him. Now watch what happens. Wait. Oh, man. All right, listen. This was an honest mistake, okay? When I first saw this, I didn't realize there was already somebody in that basket. So after playing it, I thought this guy escaped. I thought this guy actually leapt and made it into that basket. And just now playing it, it's only like the second or third time I've seen it. Just now playing it, I realized like, oh, there's already somebody in the basket. So now I'm reading this, which I guess I should have done before. But wow, he didn't. But man, I was going to play it again, but now there's really no point to. But that's some wild stuff, man. Strange sea creature reeled in New York's Coney Island. Check this thing out. It says Clearnose Skate. I guess that's the name of I've never seen anything like that. That's pretty wild. Looks like an animated character, doesn't it? Huh, Clearnose Skate. Cyclist sets off firestorm with crude comment on reporter's outfit. A Belgian journalist and former pro cyclist Sven Spoormakers posted a screen grab on Twitter that's caused an outrage on social media after making a crude comment referring to a young female reporter covering the Vuelta San Juan. Spoormakers made reference to the reporter's low-cut top after taking a screenshot of her interviewing one of the riders for television, asking in Dutch, "Is it cool in Argentina?" And it led to numerous fans and pundits condemning him for allegedly sexually objectifying the young reporter. So let's take a look at this picture. So what do you think? And see, that's right. That's one of those areas in our society. It's always so touchy now. It's like, on one hand, that's a part of the new feminism. It's like women are like, I can wear what I want. And of course they can. Woman, you can wear what you want. You're in America. You can wear what you want. Right? But then when they wear things that are revealing and they know they're revealing and all this, they're wearing what they want. They got the freedom, the power to do this. Well, men are physically wired, to be attracted to the women and to be looking at their parts. This is just a part of how we've been programmed. It's I guess how we've existed as a species for so long. What with making babies and stuff. So you know what I mean? So she's obviously a really pretty lady, but she's wearing something that seems really revealing. Of course, it's something that people are going to notice, men are going to notice, but are all men, really, are we all supposed to just pretend, I mean, that's not there? I don't know. I guess it makes it difficult. We've all been in that situation. You obviously don't want to be staring at a woman's chest when she's talking to you or something, right? But sometimes it makes it difficult, I guess, right? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Yes, women have freedom to wear what they want, but some of these things are really revealing and putting things out there, and then all of a sudden they get mad at men for looking at them or even approaching them. Obviously, if a guy is being a creep, that's one thing. We don't want that. You don't want a guy being a creep, with a woman, no matter what she's wearing. But you've seen some of these so-called social experiments. There was this one girl that walked around New York City with a camera and just recording all the cat calls, how terrible men are, for approaching and saying she's beautiful and things like this. But it's all just a part of that, yeah. It's another example of just the loss of love with people. People are so much quicker now to hold on to the differences they have with other people than to find things in common, and to pull together. It's that tribalism, isn't it? Anyway, what do you think? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? This is, speaking of symbolism, this is interesting. Not that we were speaking of symbolism, but check this out. 4 horsemen, bizarre coach choice for Brits on China flight as hero bus driver stuns. Coaches carrying Britons stranded in coronavirus hit Wuhan are being transported to medical facilities to be tested in what have been dubbed the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Up to 4 coaches were provided by firm Horsemen to transport the group of Britons from their emergency government flight from China to a medical facility where they can be tested for the deadly virus. One bus driver wore a simply jumper and a tie. Twitter went into a meltdown at the sight of the coaches that were waiting when the plane landed in Oxfordshire this afternoon. One commenter said, "Love and prayers for those people in quarantine, but who hired the 4 horsemen buses of the apocalypse to drive them there? Really?" Yes, really. Right. A second said, 4 horsemen of the anyone? The coaches will be deep cleaned after the passengers get off, horseman coaches said. They added the Department for Health have procedures in place for the vehicles to be deep cleaned. But I wish there was a good picture of this. There's a decent picture. You can kind of see. But the horses have a rainbow mane. Their mane's the rainbow. And the rainbow's the flag of the New World Order, isn't it? And they have the white horse, right? A pestilence. The 4 horsemen. There's one of the decals right there on the front. Horseman. You can see it again on the side. What do you think about that? YouTuber puts up billboard of his friend's drunken texts to his assistant. If you're partial to the occasional drunken text, then you'll know all too well about the crippling embarrassment and regret that can consume you as you nurse a hangover and scroll back in time to assess the damage. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I can't play that. Oh, well. So I'll figure out the audio thing. Drones are being repurposed to spray disinfectant and coronavirus hit China. Look at this. That's pretty crazy, huh? Ooh, look at that. Enjoy this footage while you can. Hopefully they don't try to strike this. If they do, I always go back in and remove clips, but this is a good one. Wow. Crazy. Videos taken in the coastal provinces of Jilin, Shandong, and Zhejiang have been shared on social media and show them hovering in the air with disinfectant liquid is sprayed from a device underneath the bot and into the atmosphere. According to reports, a villager in Hazy, Shandong, used his own personal drone to disinfect an area of 16,000 square meters over the course of a single morning. It's said that the unmanned aerial vehicles are proving to be a more effective method of delivering public hygiene than on foot or by car. Police have also been out disinfecting the country's southwestern Sichuan province in areas not otherwise easily accessible, such as people's roofs. Dang, check that out. It's like something out of a movie, man. It's crazy. We always talk about that, right? We've been prepared for this for a very long time, seeing this kind of stuff. Crop protection officer from the village of Long Thu reportedly disinfected his village using his own drone. He said drones can cover a much wider area and achieve very good disease prevention results. As disinfectant is harmless to humans, it doesn't affect anyone's daily life, he says. Man, that's scary. Look at that one. Knock, knock. Who's there? Wow. That really is something out of a movie, isn't it? Look at that. The red lights. Red lights, and then the black arms just make it just a little bit more sinister. Like it wasn't already kind of creepy enough, but anyway. Oh, man, here's another one. All right, let's see. I think I have to do this. Oh, man, it's making me watch the State of the Union. So, all right, I'll have to go beyond this one, I guess. There's video of the drones in China, and they're telling the people to go home and to go inside. Some of you may have seen those. Let me see. Maybe this is it. Yeah, cool. All right, check this out. This is crazy.
不戴口罩就不要出去，不要乱跑，记得赶紧回家。
Staying at home is contributing to society. Wow. That's on Global Times on Twitter, if you want to go look that up. That's something. This is interesting. Facebook commitment to free speech will peeve people off, Zuckerberg says. He's had a change of heart, you know. I like to be as optimistic as I can, you know, and remember all the social media summit that Trump had, and there's a bit of a back and forth with the Congress and the Senate and with some of these leaders of social media. And there's at least a discussion going on, and an obvious bias had been going on for a while, and it's still out there, of course. But who knows, huh? Maybe the tides are changing. I know. KJ, you're being a sucker. You know, you're being a sucker. Come on. There's no reason to get any hopes up. I don't know, maybe. Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook chief executive, has unveiled a new approach to political advertising, which he described as a stand for the principles of free speech. But also one that will pee off a lot of people. Excuse me. In a candid discussion at the Silicon Slopes Tech Summit 2020 in Salt Lake City on Friday, Zuckerberg said that since his company is criticized for both what it does and does not do in terms of monitoring use of its platform, it will now support free speech because in order to be trusted, people need to know what you stand for. We're going to stand up for free expression, he said, apparently referring to the company's decision to resist pressure to ban political ads because it would be too tough to determine the line between true and false content. It's unfortunate that this is such a controversial thing, he said, adding that critics of his stance are typically people not at risk of being censored themselves. He did acknowledge that the Cambridge Analytica data breach might have been avoided with better monitoring of how customer data was being handled, and said the company was introducing tools to combat hate speech and terrorist recruiting. The issue of targeted political advertising included its use in Russian interference with the 2016 election continues to haunt the social media giant. Oh, well, anyway. We'll see. Hopefully. Amazing coincidence. Coronavirus vaccine just announced. The race is on to develop a new vaccine for novel coronavirus, and leading the pack is Professor Yun Kwok Yang and his team from the University of Hong Kong, which reportedly already somehow developed a vaccine that's just awaiting testing. The chair of infectious diseases told reporters that he and his colleagues were able to isolate the new virus from his city's first imported case and transform it into a vaccine that, upon being tested and approved, can be publicly released. We have already produced the vaccine, but it will take a long time to test on animals, Yuan is quoted as saying, without giving an exact time frame for when these tests might be completed. He did, however, indicate that the testing phase on animals usually takes a few months, followed by at least another year to conduct human clinical trials. He says he based his new vaccine on a nasal spray influenza vaccine that he previously developed by simply modifying this earlier vaccine with part of the surface antigen of novel coronavirus. He and his team believe they've cracked the code. But again, it'll take years, more than likely, for the thing to be officially approved. And by that time, there's no telling how many people will have developed coronavirus as this global emergency intensifies with each passing day. For more related news, okay, whatever. That's it. Okay. Oh, this is just a bit of a doom break. I thought this was cute. A 4-month-old baby learns how to swim. Like, we actually see this child kind of figure something out. It's kind of awesome. Check this out. Isn't that great? There you go. Thought that was a nice little doom break. Speaking of doom breaks, well, this probably doesn't really qualify as a doom break. It is really weird, though. So that qualifies to be on the show. Joe Biden kisses his 19-year-old granddaughter on the lips during a speech at campaign trail event ahead of Iowa caucuses. Have y'all seen that? Okay, for real. The 77-year-old gave his granddaughter a peck on the lips. That's his granddaughter. That's his 19-year-old granddaughter right there. All right, let that sink in for a second. There we go. That'll be easier to let that sink in. 19-year-old granddaughter, 77-year-old man, related, right? Granddaughter, grandpa. Am I just being an old fogey here, or is that just weird, man? I don't know. Now, some of you ladies out there might be some 19-year-old ladies that are listening right now, that are listening later after this is uploaded, that still kiss your 77-year-old grandpa square on the lips while holding his hand. Maybe that's a thing. And, you know, with all kidding aside, that could be a Southern thing. And I don't mean that even in a bad way. Like sometimes some people in the South are just super, super, super close like that without that sexual element. And then there is sometimes those with that, okay? I mean, that really that's everywhere. But I'm just thinking of, you know, some people in the South maybe do that, the kissing on the lips like that, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, guys, that's all. I don't know. He's just like watching a train go off the rails in slow motion. That's what Joe Biden is. Joe Biden news is for me. It's just like a train falling off the tracks in slow motion. It's disintegrating, exploding, falling apart, but gracefully, you know? It just keeps giving. Just keeps giving more and more shocks and awes. U.S. Army funds fully automated microaggression detector to catch implicit bias in the workplace. The U.S. Army Research Laboratory gave a $1,500,000 three-year grant to 2 associate professors to develop what's being called a fully automated luxury microaggression detector, Alexa-like device to catch implicit bias in workplaces across America. Here we go, guys. Despite the growing adoption of implicit bias training, some in the field of human resources have raised doubts about its effectiveness in improving diversity and inclusion within organizations. But what if a smart device similar to the Amazon Alexa, this is like Black Mirror, man. We are in it. It's what we always talk about on the channel, man. Predictive programming. We've been prepared for this, right? Prepared for this time. But what if a smart device similar to the Amazon Alexa could tell when your boss inadvertently left a female colleague out of an important decision or made her feel that her perspective wasn't valued? God forbid. The device doesn't yet exist, but Northeastern Associate Professors Christoph Riedel and Brooke Foucault-Wells, wow, I just cannot, are preparing to embark on a 3-year project that could yield such a gadget. The researchers will be studying from a social science perspective how teams can communicate with each other as well as with smart devices while solving problems together. The vision that we have for this project is that you would have a device, maybe something like Amazon Alexa, that sits on the table and observes the human team members while they are working on a problem and supports them in various ways, says Riedel, an associate professor who studies crowdsourcing, it says. One of the ways in which we think we can support the team is by ensuring equal inclusion of all team members. Oh boy, there's that word again. Inclusion, inclusivity, as if people already aren't, right? I mean, come on. The pair have received a $1.5 million 3-year grant from the U.S. Army Research Laboratory. Wow. Anyway. There's that. This, some of y'all may have seen this. It's had a lot of views. I'm not even sure what's going on here, but they say that it's footage of somebody being forced to go to the hospital. They don't want to go. This is in China, allegedly. I don't know how good that hazmat suit is with that big rip in the back there. Wow. What do you think's going on there, huh? They're obviously forcing this person in there. This person doesn't want to go. Yikes. And on that note, close the screen there if I can. There you go. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't close the screen. And on that note, I think that's actually the last story. There you go, man. Not sure what's happening with that. There you have it, man. I'm just looking down. Hey, look at us. Oh, we did like over a couple hours. I'd say that's good. We had a lot to get caught up on. I got a lot of stuff to do too, man. I've got a lot to do as far as work in general. I've got lots of videos coming, as I mentioned earlier. Got to talk to some of the artists. I've been reaching out the merchandise and other projects with a couple animators. I want to talk to these guys. Then I have my regular YouTube videos I'm working on right now too. So I've got a lot coming out here. Just wanted to say thanks once again to you guys, for hanging out. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for being here. Big shout out to all the moderators as well. I always like to end with a prayer, so I'll just say real quick, Heavenly Father, thanks once again for this community. Thanks for the fact that I still have my channel here, still have a platform, and just thanks for all you do for me, for us. Thank you, Father. Thank you. And please continue to help us all to not live in fear and to truly become the best versions of us you want us to be, everything you want us to be for you. And to be strong here in this world and not live in fear. Thank you, Lord. I love you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. You guys, thanks again. Once again, big shout out to the Patreon, PayPal supporters as well. Thanks out there, guys, just for sharing my videos, for the encouragement, for prayers, everything else. You're amazing, all right? So take it easy out there. Just like many of you, I'm going to go check out the State of the Union address I recorded. I'm going to watch it. Maybe we'll talk about it in a live show in a couple of days or something. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, take care. More videos on the way soon. Have a good one.